Today we're going to talk about the P in S.P.E.M.S. Remember, S.P.E.M.S is spiritual, physical, emotional, mental, and social. These are the 5 essential health pillars for everybody, including children, especially children. So today we're going to do the P. P stands for physical. Physical can be thought of in many ways, but the simplest way is to think of it as anything that you can measure, you can take a picture of, you can see, you can pick up, you can move. So here's an example of physical. This is physical. Our bodies are an example of physical, what we can see. A few terms that I'd like to share to help us talk about the physical. Number 1 is DNA. Just like these beads here, DNA is very similar to beads. And each little bead represents part of the DNA that has a blueprint. So this one might be for hair color, the next one might be for personality, the next one might be for eye color, the next one might be for how tall you are. But all of these beads, or in other words, all of your DNA is the blueprint that codes who you are, how you look, what you do, how you act, and how you think. The next term is genotype. Genotype is just a fancy word that means the information that's in your DNA. And then we have phenotype. Phenotype is what you see. So I have my DNA in my cells that you can't see without a microscope. And my phenotype is 6 feet tall, my skin is brown, my hair is black. That's what you see, phenotype. So what kind of things affect our DNA? Number 1, sleep. If you don't get enough sleep, it alters your DNA. This is very important for pregnancy, but also for developing babies and children and adolescents. We don't want anything to disrupt or disturb the DNA, since that's the blueprint that creates our personality, our character, and our phenotype, what we see. So chemicals, drugs, alcohol, tobacco, smoking, these things also affect our DNA. That's why it's so important for our grandparents and our great-grandparents to have practiced healthy behaviors, healthy things going into their body, especially during pregnancy or before, or even before they started having babies. Because if something was done when they were teenagers, but just one decision where something harmful goes into your body could affect your DNA, you may never realize it until 1, 2, 3 generations later, when it shows up in the DNA that was transferred to your children, to your grandchildren, to your great-grandchildren, and then it shows up as a medical problem. Another thing that affects DNA is the hormones that circulate in the body. And hormones come from our situations. If there is a stressful situation, if there is fear, if it's during wartime, there are 2 types of hormones, remember, stress hormones and relaxation hormones. So depending on the hormones that are circulating in your body, those can affect DNA as well. When we think about the physical, we also have to consider exercise. We have to consider water. We have to consider the nutrients that we take into our body. We also have to consider gravity. Yes, gravity. There are experiments where small babies, not human babies, but small babies of different animals and species, chickens and rabbits and other animals, were allowed to grow and develop in an atmosphere with no gravity, such as on the space shuttle or deep in the ocean. What was discovered was that the physicality, the phenotype, or what you can see did not mature or as expected. Every second of a baby's life, there is a little pressure applied to the baby. First, by the mother's womb. The pressure from the mother's muscles and the mother's anatomy puts pressure on the baby and has the baby balled up. That pressure is stimulating proper growth, the proper size, the proper strength of the little muscles and bones. And then when the baby's born, then there's gravity. The gravity from the Earth's pull is developing strong muscles, strong bones, and the features that we see. The other thing I mentioned was water. It's very important to stay hydrated. 6 to 8 glasses of water per day is very important to keep your physical aspect healthy. In babies, a majority, up to 80-90% of their physical weight is water. And as you get older, the percentage goes down to about 60-70%. And don't forget the nutrients, your food. Everything you eat should be natural, should be healthy, should be clean. When babies and children and even adults are putting processed foods into their body, unclean foods into their body, foods with high cholesterol, high fat, high sugar, these are affecting not only the DNA, but also the molecules. DNA makes the molecules, the building blocks, the blood cells, the heart cells, the ligaments, the tendons. So if it has building blocks and nutrients and ingredients that are not healthy, we're not going to get a good physical outcome. And let's not forget exercise. The physical body needs exercise for many reasons, but sticking to the physical, exercise produces relaxation hormones. And remember, those relaxation hormones affect our DNA, and the DNA produces our phenotype. Exercise also strengthens our muscles and bones. Just look up your favorite sport and inquire how many hours do professional athletes train in that sport. And you'll understand why the exercise results in what you see at the Super Bowl or at Wimbledon or at an NBA championship. I hope you all have enjoyed learning about the P in S.P.E.M.S. Let's go do some exercise now. I wonder if the halls are empty. I have an idea of what to do for exercise. Let's go.